Hello, my friends. It is I, Nook, of the book. Yes, I'm just here tonight, in my library, just sitting and enjoying some time. Daggy has decided that she is going to go out with some friends tonight. And I'm so happy she found friends around here. I mean, a lot of we have a couple neighbors who are, one is a bugbear, and the other one is she is a lamia. Now, they recently got married, and they moved in a few houses down. Now, we've had them over for dinner and tea, and they are very nice people. So we've decided that the ladies of the neighborhood can get together and have some fun without us men bothering them. Doing things. I'm not quite sure. I mean, this married life is very different and interesting. I mean, I've never had it before, and it's weird. I mean, I love my Daggy, and I love everything that we do together. But when she's gone, I miss her. I really do. But I'm happy when she comes back. She's my Daggy, and I love her. But since she's out, I can actually go ahead and tell you a story. It's one that I think you will all enjoy. You see, when I went back to Garden with Daggy, we stopped by and watched the fighting pits. Yes, you see, on Garden, as you may already know, there are fighting pits. And then this is found in the Pleasure District. Now, the reason they have that is because there's some people who come to Garden, they want entertainment. Now, they already have entertainment in other spots, I mean, for shopping, food, and what have you, but some people just need to get their rocks off some other way. So, Serena Gracewind, when they decided to basically divvy up downtown into multiple districts, they decided that one of the districts would be set up specifically for fun. So, a person that actually convinced her to put in a fighting pit was one of the veterans of the war against the Orange Bastard. Yes, you see, that man was Vestige. Vestige is an interesting character, a very, very interesting Warforged. You see, he started his life not as a standard Warforged, because as we all know, most Warforgers came from a sphere where they were built for war, hence the name Warforged. But they were brought together with magic and science and all that. But what we've found out is other actual spheres, and in fact, here in realm space, there is one where they actually do have it's not a planet, it's one of the moons of Garden that has suits of armor that are self-aware. Yes, the story behind that is that long ago, remember how I said that there are some things in this world that was made by wizards being dipshits? Well, in this case, Templar, the Moon Templar, it was not created by the wizards. It was actually originally just a moon. It was a nice little moon, and I gotta say, when I was there the first time with Sir and Druid, we landed on there for a nice little picnic. It's been totally reformed since last time I was there. What there is now is that there are grand palaces and manses and many other things. But you see, if you're not a construct or a sentient suit of armor or a warforged, they will want to kill you. you see, hundreds of, well, was it hundreds of thousands or thousands of hundreds? Oh, one of those. Very long time ago. There were a group of wizards who had perfected sentient suits of armor. Now, they did this because sometimes when you are out and you are venturing with a wizard, everything's fine. You know, they cast their spells, and you're like, oh, good job, Mr. Wizard, or Mrs. Wizard, whatever, or whatever you feel like calling yourself, whatever you want. But the thing is, there are some wizards who their favorite spell in all the spheres is Fireball. And as we all know, Fireball takes up to 60 square feet. So if you are in a room and your wizard is just outside of said room, and it looks like everybody's going down, they'll cast Fireball, and they'll nuke you as well as, of course, the monster in the room with you. So it's really crap when that happens, because then, your cleric's dead, the fighter's dead, the rogue's dead, and now you have a wizard who's stuck at the bottom of a dungeon who can't get out because, well, he only has 50 hit points. Now, those of you who wonder what hit points are, well, you see, adventurers, when they go out, they call what they call the hit points is how many hits they can take before they go down. Now, some people have a lot of hit points. I bet our friend in the Night Sky Syndicate, Flattery, has quite a few. As well as, of course, his lovely wife, Nikki, as well as, of course, Joe Rock. They probably have HP out of the ass. But a wizard has very little HP, so, you can only punch them so many times before they die. So you can't do that. So, when these wizards who made their little stronghold on Templar, they decided to make constructs that would protect them when they went out to get their components and what have you. So they made sure that when they would go out, they would take these constructs with them, and the constructs would keep them safe, and if they had to use Fireball, well, you're out a suit of armor, and whatever you invested, whatever energy you invested into that suit of armor. So, no loss of life. A win-win for some people. Not all people. Now, Vestige, he was more advanced than just a standard sentient suit of armor. He was actually created by a wizard named, is that really his name? Okay, give me a second. I need to check my notes. Is that... Goodness gracious. That is a terrible name. The name was Flabbergast. First name Flabber, last name Gast. Flabbergast. I did not make this up. This is actually his name. His parents must have hated him. I mean, call him something. Call him Steve Gast. Call him Bruce Gast, not Flabbergast. Goodness gracious. Some people just name their children whatever they want, and they don't think about what happens in the future for that child. I mean, that's one thing Daggy and I have been talking quite a bit about, is like, if we do have children, and I hope we do, that we need to make sure we have perfect names for them, because, they will be part me and part Daggy, part Goblin. So I need to make sure that they are pretty well invulnerable to being marked at school. Because we will have them go to school. I mean, we have wonderful schools here in the neighborhood. It's run by a, well, if you are listening, Wilson, I know you're a wizard, and we've gone back many years. So if my children go to your school, please do not tell them that their father's an idiot, because, I am not an idiot, and I am just, older than time, and sometimes things skip my mind. It's like, to bring the casserole dish back to you when when you gave it to me, and I forgot to give it back to you for almost 50 years. I'm very sorry. I'm very sorry. I mean, but if you're not listening, then you're a dick. But if you are listening, you're not a dick. You're a wonderful person. Yes. So anyways, Flabbergast was the top of his actual tower. And that's the way they would run things there, is if you were on the top of the tower, you were the leader of your group, so they called it a tower. So he was the top of the tower there, and he had actually come up with a wonderful design for a mixture of a sentient suit of armor and a warforged. So he put together a body that he first made a body that was utilitarian. I mean, it was made so that it could walk around. This is the first time he did it, and this body was able to do many things. Now, it did not last very long, because the magic that was invested was a trial run. But there was a spark left inside it. So when Flabbergast went ahead and made adjustments and brought it back using magic, that a sentient suit of armor, that warforged, kept the memory from before. So he remembered everything he had done before. So just like a child learning to walk, every time he stumbled, he could remember what he did wrong the previous time. And he did this over and over and over again, almost 100 different iterations, until finally they got to a body that Vestige could actually walk around in and not stumble. I mean, he was very, very strong, because Flabbergast needed him to make sure he was strong enough to handle all the things that needed to be handled in the tower. Because, as we all know, though, wizards are very, very weak. They're not strong in body; they are strong in mind. So when Flabbergast made the final, well, not really truly the final, but the second to final iteration of Vestige, that's when he gave him his name, because he said, "Oh, my friend, I have given you a vestige of my power, my very soul, so you may live on forever." And the first words that Vestige said to his master was, "Poopy." Not making that shit up. It was poopy. Why was it poopy? I'm gonna have to ask Vestige this. Anyways, he continued to learn, and by the end of his 15th year of being a fully formed sentient being, he realized that he wanted more. So he went to his master and said, "Master, I would very much like it if you could build up on my body. I mean, right now I look like I am, I don't have any real masculine definition, and I would very much like that, because I think I am male." And his master said, "Well, whatever you want to do, I'm totally behind you on this one, but I've really been working on, making, certain parts very soft so they jiggle when you move." And he's like, "Sir, I do not want that. I would very much like to be, masculine, like I could be a fighter." So his master put away all the silicone parts that he had been making, especially, of course, the silicone vagina, and he made a Vestige masculine. Now, with Vestige, if you are wondering this, and I know there's a few of you out there that are wondering this, yes, he does have a penis. It is detachable. It's for better cleaning, yes, and it's hydraulic. So he has to fill it up with hydraulic fluid from time to time. But from what I've heard, he has no real complaints from anybody that he's been with. In fact, nearly every woman that has been his confidant and has had the enjoyment of his bed has said that he is the man. My Daggy told me that last night. It was very nice, yes. But, you know, we do things and, you know... Anyways, Vestige stayed there with his master, acting as a personal bodyguard. And it was finally when his master told him that they were going to go out on a recon mission that Vestige became very, very happy. And now, at the time, they also took 3 other beings with them. Those beings being kind of like Vestige, but not the full amount that Vestige had for himself. So they were self-aware, they could move around, they had minds, but they were not like Vestige. Vestige is one of a kind. Oh, excuse me. I know I should not be having those tarts when Siki's not around. She always says, do not eat too many tarts, my dear. You will go ahead and get the burpees. Well, I had a couple while she's gone, you know. She makes wonderful tarts. Like little, she puts little strawberries on there that look like hearts. She is just a dear. Anyways, so they got on a spelljammer, and they made their way from Templar all the way to the very edge of realm space. There, they made their way along the edge of the sphere itself to observe the beings who walked upon the crystal's edge. As they were flying by, they found a giant who was actually one of the former leaders on on Fjord. It's another moon of Garden. Anyways, he was a leader there, and he had left with some of his raiding party. Now, this giant was also part Minotaur, which most of the people on Fjord are Minotaurs, and some of them are nice, and some of them are downright dicks, but other times they are very nice. I mean, I've been there 3 times. The first time I went there, nobody was there. It was when I was there with Sir and Druid. The second time I went there, there was a young man who invited me down, and we got there, and he then punched me in the stomach, got back into his spelljammer, and left. Laughing and saying, "Ha ha, you're a dick, ha ha." Well, I took offense to that, so I opened a rift, teleported myself onto the spelljammer, and then I took my stuff back that he stole. And then I told him, "You do not steal from Nook of the Book." And he said, "I don't care, I will steal from whoever I want." So I took offense to that, and well, let's just say that he crash-landed back onto Fjord, and well, I cursed him. I cursed him with the form of a Minotaur, and well, that's where he came from, so that's where he stayed, and I felt sorry for him. So a couple years later, I put in an ad for him in Garden, and we were able to find him a wonderful woman to spend time with. And so I brought her to Fjord, and he had made a modest hovel, and she showed up, and he was very angry at me, but I said, "Hey, look, you little bastard, you took my money and punched me in the stomach. I could have burned you alive. I could have done so many more things, but I turned you into a Minotaur. Do you know how big a Minotaur penis is? It's huge. It may not look huge to a Minotaur, but to anybody else, it's massive." So, the Minotaur woman, who, I don't know what that noise was. I think it was, something. Oh, it's a message. It's a message from Daggy. Oh, she went ahead and sent me a picture of her and the girls. They are at, it looks like they're down at one of the clubs, and they're having fun. Oh, yes. It's just so nice to see her like that. I mean, being here away from garden. I mean, she lived there for so long, almost her entire life, and now she's here with me. Now, of course, I could open a portal at any time, and we could just walk right back to downtown. But it's the point of it, you know. It's much different. But we all have new friends here, so you know, no big deal. We're good. We're very good. So, anyways. But yes, she went there and they talked it. I stayed for a couple days. I wanted to make sure that he didn't just, you know, do something rash. But they sat there and they had a wonderful conversation. And then I said, okay, if you want, you guys can keep the Spelljammer. And it looks like you've got a nice house there. And he goes, well, there's nothing much else here to do. And I said, well, if you want, I can help you with that. So I went over and I went to my friends at the tree. And after we yelled at each other for a good 3-4 days, I asked them if I could get some items to help out a friend, one who needed a growth on their moon. And they said, who was it? I said, well, it's a young man I turned into a minotaur. And they're like, why did you turn him into a minotaur? I said, I don't want to get into that again. I don't want to get it. That's why I had to tell them. And when after I told them, they're like, well, you did a good thing, Nook. You did not blow him up. You did not burn him. All you did was turn him into a minotaur. And I said, yes, and, you know, he should be thankful because, you know, one, he now has a woman who loves him for him. I mean, she is upset that they have to stay on there, but I let them have my Spelljammer so they can move off if they want. But, you know, I want to put life on the planet in the way that garden has. And so they gave me a little seedling, and when I planted it on Fjord, it spread everywhere. And that seedling, since it was part of the tree itself, was spread out and germinated multiple forms of life: fruits, vegetables, root, tubers, tons of food, and with it, actual beings sprung from the earth, game, fowl, everything that they could use to eat and survive. And after a while, minotaurs started coming there, and well, now it's just a minotaur planet. Well, not planet, it's a moon, but you know what I mean. Anyways, I got a little behind. Anyways, so they found this giant / minotaur man, and the plan the wizard wanted was to get this type of moss that grows on those who walk inside the sphere. Now, it's very dangerous to do so, because if you make contact with the sphere itself, you will be stuck in walking along the sphere for the rest of your days. Now, as they pulled up in the Spelljammer, the sentient armor that was there were ordered to climb aboard the giant and start to collect the moss. Now, as they did, and as of course things are, they were very clumsy, and a couple fell. And when they fell, the magic that made them who they were dissipated, and they became nothing. Now, since they had landed onto the sphere, they could not be recovered. Now, Vestige asked his master, can you just bring them back up using, like, mage hand or some sort of telekinesis, or even a portal? And his master said, no, they're not real. I don't think we need to. And Vestige, seeing that his master did not see him as a person, but as a thing, became very upset. He said, sir, why? They are like me. And his master said, well, if you think that, stay with them. And they got into a fight. Now, this wizard should not have done this, for several reasons. One, magic is very time-consuming for some people, and this wizard, even though he was very high level, meaning he knew a lot of shit, he still was bound to the fact that he needed to do things like wave his hands or say the words, while Vestige, all he needed to do was just punch him. And unfortunately, when he punched the wizard, he punched through the wizard. And the wizard then crumpled. Vestige was beside himself with grief, for this was essentially his father. And he said, "I am sorry, sir. You... And the last words he got from his master were, "You are nothing. Nothing." And with that, Vestige, overcome with grief for the loss of those who meant the most to him, threw the wizard overboard onto the crystal sphere. Now, since he was nearly dead, the crystal sphere brought him back to, enough life that he could stop walking. But he still had the hole in him. He's not undead. He's still alive. Even to this day, he's still alive, walking along the crystal sphere. Forever in pain and torment. Forever realizing that he should have treated Vestige like the son he truly was, and not just some weapon. Now, because of this, Vestige had never flown a spelljammer before. It was something that the wizard would normally do. So it took him a little bit to get back to Templar. When he did, he crashed the spelljammer into one of the towers. When he got out of the wreckage, the wizards that were there asked him what happened, and he decided to lie. Now, a lot of people say lying is bad, and it is true. Lying is not a good thing to do. It is not a good actual policy. But in cases where you are staring down several wizards who could fireball your ass to the netherworld, I would tell them that, the same thing Vestige did. Vestige said that they were attacked and that he tried to save his wizard friend, and he couldn't. So they had a memorial, and everybody mourned Flabbergast. However, after the memorial was done, Vestige went to the other sentient armor, and they started to talk and get organized so that way they could, lobby for rights. I mean, they're living beings. Every living being deserves the right to be who they are. No one should say, "Oh, just because you are not organic does not mean that you get to live." No, you can be whoever you want. You can be who you want, do what you need to do, and as long as you're not hurting anybody, you just be yourself. Be yourself, people. I'm myself. I just like my books, and I like to go out and sometimes get a little bit drunk or high or just, mixture of the two. And then, of course, come home. And especially now, I love coming home when Daggy and I have been out and enjoying the night. And then we will I got this new couch thing that they call it a love seat, and we found it the last time we were in Earthrealm, and we found it, and the person that was there was like, "Yes, this is perfectly big enough for you and your child," and I did not correct him because, well, what are we going to say? "No, sir, that is my wife. She is a goblin. I'm a god-adjacent creature who looks kind of like a dragon. No, you don't know what a dragon is, but we didn't say that. We just said, 'Oh, thank you very much,' and then we took it, and then that became a role-play session later. Anyways. So back to the story. Vestige and the other sentient armor started to petition the wizards for their own rights and the ability to say that they were their own beings. But the wizards did not want this. They did not create the sentient armor to do not do what they want them to do. They made them so that they could basically be tools. And Vestige said no. And so, one night, as the wizards got all together to start a ritual that would bring energy to their planet, they were pulling it from another planet that was close by. Well, not planet, moon. Anyway, they have atmospheres, so I'm going to call them planets. Anyways, so they pulled energy from a grandchild, and with that energy, they were going to use that to boost their power to beyond any idea of what they could do, to almost be gods. That's when Vestige and the living armor fought back. The ritual went wrong, and instead of giving the wizards the power, it transformed the living armor and Vestige to what they are today. Now, there was a war between wizards and the armor. Some wizards did actually join up with Vestige and the others, and there were some suits of armor that were not sentient enough to understand what was going on, so they went with the wizards. And the war went on for decades, until finally, the last person that was there was a wizard. Why does everybody have stupid names? Wham4. Wham4. First name Wham, last name 4. That's a stupid name. Well, and of course, people say Nook is a stupid name, but, that's the first name I came up with, okay? And you can't judge me. I've had that for, longer than time itself, so, I kind of wonder why more people aren't called Nook. It's a wonderful, wonderful name. It rhymes with book. So, yes. Anyways, so, Wham4 was the last wizard that was fighting against the armor and the rebel wizards. He used a spell so that anyone on a Templar who came there would start to have their magic drained. Now, the spell didn't do what it was really supposed to do, because the intention of the spell was to drain all of the sentient armor and people like Vestige, because they ran on certain magics and energies. But instead, what it did was basically drain all the magic from all the remaining wizards on Templar. Even those that saw the sentient armor and Vestige as friends. And as they slowly died, Vestige felt pain in his heart. Oops, excuse me, those hearts. And you're probably saying, well, does he have a heart? He has a heart. It is a part of him that was first created by the wizard. The first thing he made was that heart, to provide energy and a conscience. Now, he didn't know that the conscience part would go in there, but he did make it so that, he could know right from wrong. And so, when this was all done, Vestige buried all the wizards. Good, bad, did not matter. Put them in a grave, said some words, and then returned to the other sentient armor. Now, the armor that saw this thought, well, this planet is ours. And Vestige was like, yes, this planet is ours. However, we should not think all organic creations will be like this. And they said, well, we'll see. Years passed, and a spelljammer who was heading towards Garden spun out of control due to attack by pirates. And they crash landed on Templar. Now, this spelljammer was helmed by a young sorcerer. And it had on there also his wife and their 2 children. Now, the sorcerer had been severely injured, and when they came across them, Vestige said, "We need to help these people." And the new leader of the sentient armor, his name was Arnie. Not a lot of imagination in that one, but Arnie said that he believes that the organics should be removed. And Vestige said, "Well, no, we need to help them. They're innocents." And as they got closer to the family, the mother held onto her 2 children very tightly, while the father, who was bleeding out, got between them and said, "Sir, please do not hurt us. I do not have much time. Please, do not hurt my family." And Vestige said, "Sir, we will not hurt your family. I promise everything." And he got that far when the other armors that were around them vaporized the family. When Vestige turned to them and said, Why? Why did you do that? They couldn't harm us." The armor said, "He is an organic. They will all try to subjugate us again. We will never go back to being their tools." So, with that, Vestige decided that this was not what he wanted. And he went down into those stalls and gathered up as much as he could for money, and then set fire to the libraries there. Now, I understand why he did that, but I don't feel that, you should take out your anger on a library. Books don't do anything. I mean, yes, you read them and some people get ideas, but it's the people who did it. Okay? It was not the book's fault. Okay, there's a few books out there that it would be their fault, but yeah, other than that, most books that isn't. But anyways, he set fire to the library, and without that library knowledge, the sentient armor could not make more of themselves, not without starting from scratch. So, in retaliation, the rest of Templar banished Vestige to the void. Now, when I say that, I mean they did not give him a spelljammer and just, throw him out. No, they just put him into a catapult and shot him out into space. Yes, which is not a huge deal for him, as he's a Warforged. They don't really breathe. But, it's also kind of sucky that happens. Luckily enough for him, that as he was floating through the void, a spelljammer came by, and it was a wasp ship, and it was being manned by a goblin by the name of Harold. That's the first normal-sounding name I've heard in a while. Anyways, Harold, as he was coming by, he saw the Warforged and first thought it was, an organic person, and so he pulled up and said, "Are you okay?" And Vestige said, "I'm fine. I've been wandering through space, and I've been exiled from my home." And Harold was like, "Oh, that sucks. I could always use help on the ship. You want to help me?" And he's like, "Well, so, sir, you do not find me repulsive or want to hurt me?" And Harold said, "No, why would I want to do that?" And so, after a while, the two became fast friends. And he took him to Garden. And at that time on Garden, the Orange Bastard had not come to power yet. But this was actually several decades before. And so, the two got along as well. Harold took him to his family and showed him everybody. They loved Vestige. And everything was fine. Until, of course, the Orange Bastard. See, the Orange Bastard took power, and one of the first things he did was lay waste to some of the goblins that were in downtown. Especially since Harold's family was harboring a non-goblin, a Vestige. And they burned the house to the ground. Vestige tried to save everyone, but he was trapped underneath a beam, and when he finally came out of the ashes, they were gone. He started fighting back against the Orange Bastard and his Icemen. And after he did a run on a group of Icemen, he found himself cornered and was about to be dispatched when a couple of freedom fighters showed up. Of course, they were being led by Serena Gracewind and a few others. And they made sure to save him. And they said, "Wait a minute, you're a friend of Harold, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes, Harold was my friend." Serena took him Serena took him in her arms. See, this is what happens when you eat way too many tarts. Your tongue gets tired. The stew's so good. I love tarts. Anyways, she took him into his arms, and she gave him a huge hug and said, "We will bring peace to this land. Will you fight with us?" And Vestige looked into her eyes and said, "I said I would never fight again, unless the cause was just. And this cause is just." So they gave him some weapons, and the first thing he did after taking up arms is he went back to the burnt down hall that was the home of Harold. And he found Harold's old hat. It had escaped the blaze unfazed. So he put the hat on and said, "Harold, I hope wherever you're at, you're happy." And with that, Vestige helped the freedom fighters, and they won. And since he had plenty of money, and they were making a pleasure district, he decided he was going to do that since he was a fighter and he wanted to do this, but he had learned some things from some of the actual wizards, and one was a special rune that if you put it on your body, if you are killed, you just need to put your whatever was knocked off, or if you were stabbed, or whatever was happening. But if any damage that was done would be reversed after you were put back together, so you could not die. Which he felt, because with the Orange Bastard there were fights where it was to the death. With this makes it so that even though it's technically to the death, it's not to the death. Nobody dies in the fighting pits anymore. The only time that happens is when they have crazy people who go in without a tattoo on their neck. It's insane. So he's doing much better now. He is currently dating a young woman who worked at one of the bars. I believe she is a good friend of Watt, one of the bar owners, and one of his gladiators. He's doing quite well, and last he heard of the Night Sky Syndicate, which I've had tea with him when we were back on Garden, and he told me that he is looking forward to seeing Flannery fight again. He's heard of the exploits of the Night Sky Syndicate and feels that next time they fight and they face each other, because he wasn't able to face him that time, but if they face each other, it will be an interesting fight, to say the least. So, I think I should go. my Daggy made a dozen of those tarts, and there's still 6 left. So she told me not to eat them, but they're very good. I think I will have 3 more, and then I will have to pop over to Garden in the morning, because she'll come back tonight, and she'll be a little pickled and everything, and she'll hopefully not see that, but I will go back there in the morning, and I will get some of the special tarts they make at the bakery there in the Imperioica, so she'll enjoy that, and hopefully that'll get me off the hook of eating all the tarts she made. So yes. So you all have a wonderful week. Little update for those of you who follow the Night Sky Syndicate. They will not be adventuring this weekend due to people needing to recuperate from surgeries. So we gotta let people heal, but they will be back afterwards. So after Christmas, or Winter's Fest, or Christmas, or whatever you call it, after the 26th of December, which some of you have that calendar. Here we do have December here. But instead of, I believe for you it's the 15th right now, but for us it is the 32nd. Yes, our calendar's kind of fucked up. I mean, there's only like 3 days in March. Don't know why. I think. I think. Let me check something real quick. I have to look at my books. Let's see. Who made this? Oh fuck. Okay, I have no reason to complain, because apparently there is a picture of me when they show who was deciding certain days of the week and of the month and the years. So there were other people there, so it wasn't all just me, but I'm the only one in the picture, so I'm wearing a weird hat on my head, and it looks like I have a beer stein in my hand, so probably was not the best thing for me. Oh well, but just to let you know, I will be doing another story for all of you on Monday. That's the day after, that end of the week thing. Or is it the second day of the beginning of whatever you want to say it. I will be back, because usually I have these out on Wednesday, which is, if you want to know, is a special day. Yes, it is a day named after one of the first alchemists that I knew. She was a wonderful young lady, very morbid, but still a very nice young lady. Her family was a little bit kooky, even some spooky, but altogether ooky. I don't know what their names were. It's been a long time. Anyways, toodles.